Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you are well and are keeping the basic hygiene rule in order to save your family members and yourself from coronavirus. And so this is our first lesson, online lesson, but I believe that you have probably taken some online lessons already. And what is the subject of today's online lesson? This is practical grammar. The second part of the practical grammar, discourse analysis. Yes, this is discourse analysis. I know the terms of discourse and discourse itself are a little bit sophisticated and difficult to understand. And it takes lots of time, effort, and dedication from the student. And also from the teacher. Therefore, before beginning our today's topic, let's revise previous lessons. And I will give two general questions and you will just reinforce, brainstorm your ideas and you will try to give key points about this question. The first question, what is discourse itself? And the second one, which kind of types of discourse do you know? Okay, you have only 1 minute to think. So, what is discourse analysis? Discourse can be defined in three ways. The first one, language beyond the level of a sentence. It means a sentence can be an object of the discourse analysis. The second one, language behaviors linked to social practices. And a social practice refers to everyday practice and the ways these are typically and habitually performed in a society. Such practices can be going to work, a cooking, a greeting. While doing this kind of everyday practice, we will create our own discourse. The third one, language as a system of thought, and in that case we can get language as a general and discourse as a specific one, because there are lots of words in the word stock of any language and there are different structures in the language, but each individual can use different kind of structure and words according to her own purpose. The basic ideas in discourse analysis, text analysis or written discourse, the second one, conversation analysis or spoken discourse. The terms related to text analysis are structure of a discourse and speech events, and the terms related to conversation analysis is turn-taking, the cooperative principle, and background knowledge. Thank you, student. I have mentioned that you are so smart and you can accomplish with any kind of task which is in discourse. And by the help of your answer about discourse analysis, we could evoke some background information and background knowledge about discourse analysis, and it was warming up activity before starting new topic. And let's discuss today's topic. What is it? Today's topic is spoken interaction, action, and telephone calls, and service encounters. Okay, this is about today's topic for discussion. Today I would like to explain the topic using inductive way of teaching, and so let's go from specific to general and explain what is interaction. Interaction is the way people react to each other or the process that things affect each other, and react and effect helps us to understand what is interaction. Of course, interaction happens when there are two or more people or things. And what is spoken interaction? If this reaction effect is happening by the help of oral speech, oral form, this is spoken interaction. And now let's look for theory of spoken interaction. Today I would like to explain the topic using inductive way of teaching, and so let's go from specific to general and explain what is interaction. Interaction is a way people react to each other, or the process that things affect each other, and react and effect helps us to understand what is interaction. Of course, interaction happens when there are two or more people or things. And what is spoken interaction? If this reaction effect is happening by the help of oral speech, oral form, this is spoken interaction. And now let's look for theory of spoken interaction. What is spoken interaction? Spoken interaction belongs to the area of discourse which can be defined as any unit of language beyond that sentence, such as dialogue in speech and a paragraph in writing. If you paid attention as dialogue in speech and a paragraph in writing, you can ask, how is it possible that paragraph in writing can be spoken interaction? But I can answer like this. In conversation analysis, the transcription of the spoken interaction is also the analysis. In this way, texts are recorded either on tape or by video, then analyzed at the same time as they are transcribed. Therefore, the analyst aims to understand how speakers manage their conversational interaction. Spoken interaction is joint social activity, which is governed by two main principles. The first one, speakers take turns, and the next one, speakers cooperate. If we speak about the language of spoken discourse, we tend to speak in short stretches. The stretch may be, but frequently are not, accurate or complete sentences. The word utterance is used to describe the stretch of spoken language. Many utterances are comprised of incomplete, fragmented segments. In conversation, when segments are linked together, coordinating devices tend to be used. Spoken discourse, as defined by Halliday, refers to the language organization that lies beyond the sentence level. Besides, attempts have been made by Higgins in categorizing different types of spoken interaction. Higgins has proposed a typology of spoken interaction, which is given below. Spoken interaction is divided into two parts according to his typology of spoken interaction. The first one is conversation and the next one is encounters, and today we are going to discuss one from each of them. For example, if we speak about conversation, we will discuss about telephone calls. If it is about encounters, we will discuss about service encounters. Conversation analysis. A major area of study in analysis of discourse is conversational analysis. Conversation analysis looks at ordinary everyday spoken discourse and aims to understand how people manage their interaction and also how social relations are developed through the use of spoken discourse. It means that the field which analyzes spoken interaction can be called conversation analysis. Basics of conversation analysis, and maybe we can tell terms which help us to analyze any spoken discourse in easy way. We analyze any spoken discourse, paying attention the quality of the usage of these features. They are turn taking, the cooperative principle, heads, implicators, background knowledge, schemes and scripts. First one is turn taking. Conversation analysis has also examined how people take and manage turns in spoken interaction. The basic rule in English conversation is that one person speaks at a time, then he may nominate another speaker, or another speaker may take up the turn without being nominated. The cooperative principle, assumption, interlocutor are cooperative in constructing a conversation. if I explain in easier way, in interaction, there should be the role of both speaker and listener or audience. They should cooperate to produce and proceed interaction. So their speech should be clear, brief, and in order to make their sentence understandable to their peer and continuing conversation. Third principle, heads can be defined as words or phrases used to indicate that we are not really sure that what we are saying is sufficiently correct or complete. We can use sort of or kind of as hints in the accuracy of our statement, as in descriptions such as his hair was kind of long, the book's cover sort of yellow. Implicator is an additional meaning conveyed by speaker adhering to the cooperative principle. Example, Carol, are you coming to the party tonight? Lara, I have got an exam tomorrow. Here, Lara's statement is not an answer to Carol's question. Lara doesn't say yes or no, but Carol will immediately interpret that the answer means no. The fifth one, background knowledge. Background knowledge is an information that is not in text, but is used from memory by a reader to understand the text. Example, John was in his way to school last Friday. He was really worried about the math lesson. The reader can know that he was not ready for math task yesterday, and that's why John was worried. Scheme and script. Scheme is conventional or usual knowledge which exists in memory. If you hear, so on, describe what happened during a visit to a supermarket, you could suddenly remember different kind of items and food which is in supermarket. Example, school. For example, if you hear school, there is a children, there is a teacher, there is lots of books and lots of staffs and so on. Script is essentially a dynamic scheme in which a conversational action takes place. Sequence and structure in the conversation. A particular interest of conversation analysis is the sequence and structure of spoken discourse. One area where conversational openings have been examined in details is in the area of telephone conversation. Opening conversation. The sequences of telephone opening differ based on different cultures. Despite the occurrence of the "How are you?" sequence in the telephone conversation in all target communities, it has shown that the extent and pattern vary from one culture to the other. Closing conversation. Skekloff and Sachs have also looked at conversational closing. This work has since been continued by Button, who points out that telephone closing usually go over 4 turns of talk made up of pre-closing and closing moves. If it is pre-closing, okay, all right. If it is closing, bye-bye, goodbye. We have discussed about turn taking at the middle of the video. Now they are given some ways showing the end of a turn, some ways to maintain the turn. Please look through and try to understand. You understood how should we analyze telephone calls in one branch of discourse analysis in conversation analysis. Now let's discuss what service encounter is. Service encounter happens when the customer interacts with a service firm. This interaction can be done using different types of service encounters. This is remote encounter, phone encounter, and face-to-face encounter. I think phone encounter and face-to-face encounter is clear, but I would like to explain what remote encounter is. Remote encounter can occur without any direct human contact, such as when a customer interacts with a bank through the ATM system or with email order service through automated dial-in ordering. This is remote encounter. Now, look at information which explains service encounters deeply, read and take notes from it. One of the most striking characteristics of service encounters is how repetitive they are. For example, the service provider can use the same word combination repetitively. For example, can I help you? Can I help who's next? What can I do for you? In this case, we could see the repetitive form of can I. In their most basic form, most service encounters include the following elements, or we can tell the layout of service encounters is like that. The first one, greeting exchange. The second one, customer statement of need, server response. And the third part is closing. Now read two scripts of service encounters carefully and try to answer the following questions. The first one, can you guess the layout of the dialect? The second one, which type of service encounters is it? And the third one, have you discovered any striking characteristics of service encounters? This was the end of lesson, which is dedicated to discourse analysis. I think the ideas which were revealed in this video were precise and justifiable. But if you couldn't comprehend some parts of this video, please play the video again and just pause in necessary places and take notes. This was my first online class, and I hope that you will be safe until my next lesson. Stay home. Take care of yourself.